Whew. So, hello everyone, Mon here, time to read Attack on Titan again. The horrible ending. And I like the someone, what was that about? Yeah, someone was like, you wait nicer to Attack on Titan than you were to 86. I was like, Jesus Christ, man. I've been critiquing this bullshit manga for years, right? I've been saying that Attack on Titan has been a pretty bad manga for many years, and the reason I think why I didn't hate, the ending, 139, was because I was like, I didn't expect it to be good either. You know what I mean? Some people were like, "Oh, this is a failure," and it's like, how would this come from? I was like, "Yeah, this is exactly." I mean, honestly, the chapter ended exactly what I expected. As you know, it was predictable and it's kind of much, what, especially reading chapter before 108, he had written himself into a corner. Where could you go with that? I mean, either everyone had to survive, or no one had to survive. You know what I mean? Because then he transformed everyone, like Yin and Connie. So either it's gonna be this total, bad ending where everyone dies, or everyone's gonna be fine, right? So especially at that chapter, you knew that this chapter was gonna be a failure before you even read it. But anyway, I mean, I was saying since basically Gad was introduced, right? Since like the around kind of the time where they did the time skip, started about the morals. I mean, I knew the manga was gonna fail. I mean, it didn't make any sense anymore because there's too much like the plot, the very forced plot writing, right? How Gab's to shoot everyone, how Aaron's gonna survive anyway. Basically, the plot armor went to Max, right? Except for Gab is like anti-plot armor and so on, and the flush thing, and it was just so much weirdness. And then it used to get worse and worse with Mikasa and the love, and then suddenly it's the last chapter course dropping in. That I didn't expect though. That he was suddenly be like, oh, Ymir was in love with him. That's why she couldn't fight him. I was like, really, really, and because it doesn't make any sense either. Because the Titan was not much about love, right? And of course, Mikasa was, obsessed with Eren and so on. But like, oh, that's it. It's a love issue. So yeah, that was just dumb, to say the least. That was just like, okay. But anyway, we're gonna read it now. I'm gonna quickly read it through rapid. It's supposed to be 8 or 9 new pages. I already heard one spoiler that's supposed that Jean is smashing Mikasa or something. Something like that. And I think everyone dies. But that's so stupid too, because I assume everyone read the last chapter, right? And that's so stupid too. Is like, I only destroyed 80% of life. It's like, what's the point then? Because either he should have killed everyone, right? Or no one. You know what I mean? Because by letting 20% of life be alive, or the countries, they're of course gonna get revenge. And why would they just accept these random, diplomats, armies? So it doesn't make any sense. Of course it's gonna cause, and he has the power of time, future sight, and like could control his own. I mean, definitely immediately with the whole controlling, stepmom or whatever you call it. Yeah, that immediately causes like grandfather time paradox because he was his own creator, right? If he has gotten his mom killed, that wouldn't happen, right? And so let's assume instead then that she ate Bernholt. She wouldn't have the powers because she's like a blood, royal blood character, right? So I mean, this last chapter introduces that in the original timeline. Then in the original timeline, she ate Bernholt, right, and got the powers with her bloodline power, like her son. So it doesn't make any sense because that has to be the original timeline. Because Aaron explains how he changed his timeline, right? So his mom died instead, and that just doesn't make any sense. That means that somehow her having the powers still had Aaron having the powers eventually, so he could alter the timeline and then another timeline. So I mean, immediately that one page is stupid in the last chapter because it just creates like a massive time paradox straight up, right? And it's so unnecessary. There was no point having it. It's like, I love you, Armin, so I made Bernal get you survive so you can get the power later. But that doesn't make any sense from a logic aspect, right? So the chapter did manage to disappoint me, even though I had a very low bar. Reading the chapter 109, I was still impressed by how bad it was, right? But I wasn't that shocked again. I think a lot of people were really shocked because, I don't know, you're delusional. You think this manga was good? For many years, it was clearly being crappier and crappier, and the whole war was getting into the wrong direction. One thing, too, I think is so stupid is that it introduced that the Yaw Titan can fly, actually. Historically, it was a flying Titan, actually. And then they were fighting all the old Titans, and they were completely free in the sky. Why can't Eren also create flying Yaw Titans? Stuff like that I felt was so forced, right? It's like, oh, here's he can actually fly. But Eren is creating, a crocodile Titan and other animal Titans, right? From the history. But he just cannot create any of the flyers, even though Falco has the memory of that the Yaw Titan has the flying powers. He used to have the flying powers, right? So it's just like, it's supposed to be a bird, and Eren can't create the bird for some reason. So a lot of those are this like so much, going up to the end drive. So this is just stupid. The plot armor is absurd, and and the thing is that could be easily resolved too. What if Eren only could create? And I think it was stupid to begin with. Eren should only be able to create titans that he was possessing, in my opinion. Why could he create titans? It looks cool, I know, but he creates like armor and so on. But it doesn't make any sense. Like, how he doesn't have those powers. He should be able to create only the Titan that he had, right? He shouldn't be able to control other Titans he hasn't eaten yet. I think that would be logically be better. I think he could just break and just use everyone's powers, right? But now, if he can use everyone's powers, why can't he then summon birds for it? That doesn't make any goddamn sense. If he then couldn't control birds because the bird guys over there, then at least it would be like they have the only flying powers. Then at least the good just having the flying powers would be motivated by saying that Eren can't create the flying powers because he hasn't eaten the flying guy, right? You know what I mean? But no, he could create all the other powers, so that didn't make any sense either. So there was so much like that, and also, they kind of killed off the big thing off screen, right? This kind of review of that. Yeah, but I mean, they also killed off the big caterpillar monster thing off screen. They're like fighting it. Eren gets the flashback, and then they think just dies off screen, right? The thing that created all Titans. Yeah, the last chapter is horrible, but up to that point it was bad too, though. And but I think that the worst part of the last chapter is the whole Ymir in love. It's suddenly like a Stockholm syndrome. Yeah, this undermined the whole story even more. But anyway, now this new chapter here, I'm probably gonna skip through the half-ass skip through the old pages, right? The new pages are apparently even worse, right? Like something in Mikasa smashes Yin, even though Yin clearly likes Peak, but whatever, and they all die from some World War III or something. So let's start reading it. But yeah, first it's Armin tanking him for Jenside again. That's blah blah blah. Yeah, that probably puts you away. Inside the time thing. The same thing last time, right? This is whatever. About the thunder, Ymir. It's like a volcano. Okay. It's like a flowing river of liquid fire. What do you know what a volcano is? Don't have books. And he has the power of freaking time, path. How does Eren? How does he know what a volcano is? Yeah. Even after becoming a god, she continued to serve because she was in love. It's so simple. That is the worst line though from the time paradox thing is so unnecessary. But this is still the worst line though. She was in love. Oh, it's so bad. It's so simplistic. It's so simplified. Oh, she was just in love. But why does she keep serving him and he's dead though? It doesn't make any sense. And especially I think it's so bad because I said of course in my last review too, I said earlier as well today, but you should say it again, right? Because this manga wasn't much about love, right? Mikasa's absurd one-dimensional love was one thing, right? Armin and Annie has some love going on maybe, right? And so on, and a little bit flirt with some more character, Peak and Yin, maybe some flirts, but clearly the manga isn't much about love, right? I think there was a mistake though in the last chapter, the original version, right? That we didn't separately see Yin and Armin actually being a couple, because it's like, why not? Just give us one. If they're gonna survive, just give us one person kissing or whatever. I mean, I would say it's a big thing, but I like that to just make it better, because if everyone's gonna survive, might as well have them, get babies too, right? Like, might as well go for the happy ending, you know what I mean? But anyway, it wasn't really a big thing. So suddenly Ymir here is about love. Yeah, it's so stupid. I couldn't look any deeper. But I know for certain she wanted, someone will free her from the pain of her love. This makes no sense, man. Why was she even in love with him? He tormented her. So it's just so stupid. It's just so stupid. And why Mikasa could do it by killing Eren, she kissed Eren anyway. So she didn't even do it anyway. Yeah, this is so stupid. This is so stupid. It's part of Mikasa. That Mikasa, who is also madly in love with someone. She's so yandere codependent character. It's that she's the one who could break it by also being in love with him. It's so stupid. Yeah, and also makes Eren just having zero strategy. He's following the path, He's following the path like he has zero free will. well, Eren is all about free will and fighting a purpose, right? But it really isn't. But yeah, 80% was destroyed, which is really stupid. Better to do 100% then, right? So you get rid of the issue. It must be painful to carry it alone. And now it's time paradox. This is so stupid. This is the case. Yeah, this is the love scene. It's so stupid, right? Because again, if he hasn't controlled his mom would die instead, how would he get the power to begin with, right? So again, they missed the regular timeline. She ate Bernholt, which means that she will have the founder power. She will have the bloodline powers and having his Curse of Powers, which will alter the storyline so much, right? So how did he end up grandfather powers and that? But yeah, it is stupid. It is so stupid. Oh no, I'm not constantly screaming. He's lying in the water crying. I want Mikasa to kiss me. He's like, come on. Oh god, this is so bad. Like reading this thing too is. I mean, I said the chapter was bad from the beginning, but this is just so stupid. Now Eren is like lying in the water, like, oh, I want Mikasa. It's unfair. Yeah, it's so bad. Here we go. A move with his father. Eren, that's your name. I don't know why, but I want to do it and cost Eren. You are free. But he isn't free because he's followed the path here. He was free for a second, right? Yeah, we're gonna fight each other. Here we go. Thank you! It's a good line though. Eren, thank you for becoming a mass murderer. This is great! But you should have killed the rest 20% of Eren. You should kill all of them. That would be better. You should have killed the rest. That would have helped me a lot. But yeah, thank you, Eren. You're my hero. Yeah, there's Annie, Armin. You see the bird crashing down. The actually was so disappointing though that they didn't fight the caterpillar thing. That was so appealing. So ridiculous. He comes with the head. No, Eren is dead. Everyone's back. So now I'm at the scene where everyone's alive. Right? This is what I meant. If you go back and look at my reaction view, right? I said earlier, 138. Already at 137, 136 one. Right? I was saying that for months, right? That it feels a big issue that everyone's probably gonna turn and then no one's gonna die. Right? So here, of course, everyone's fine. Jean, Rainer, Gabby, Conley, they're all like, yeah, you're fine, guys. Yeah, so especially then, of course, 108, this is very much, write yourself into a corner, right? Because in this moment, he has to either kill all the characters or kill no one, right? Or, of course, it's doing Eren, but all the other characters, right? So here we see the scene that everyone is fine, right? So it's a happy ending, right? And, but of course, I have heard that, I haven't looked at the new chapter, the new page that I had, but I mean, I heard this everyone dies something, I guess. So it feels strange too, because then if he's gonna make everyone dies, right? So now everyone is fine. The back from Titan powers, right? And the big caterpillar is gone. But if everyone is gonna be fine, like you hear that, and it's a happy ending, so to speak, right? To some extent. Okay, go with that, right? Go with that. I would if everyone's gonna die in a World War III situation later on, I would much rather see them die here, right? Fighting the caterpillar Eren thing, dying from that, and then it's a bad ending, but it's over, right? That would be a better bad than having them all be alive here now, and then I guess in the new page, everyone dying anyway. This is so redundant. It's a stupid way to do it. It's like he regretted what he did, basically. It's like he went back. Yeah, and Peak is like, I wanted to meet Eren too. Like, why does he care about that? Oh, it's so stupid. Anyway, yeah, blah, 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 they're alive. Levi is crazy. There's Sasha. Falk smashes Gabby hard. They get babies later. Yeah, he goes for a hard smash there. Mikasa leaves. That is stupid plot talk scene. Should kill them immediately. Should have shot them immediately before Armin is like, I am assistant talk to Jutsu guy. They should have shot them all there. Why is there Marley like, oh, maybe they won't transform or something? Should you shot immediately? Why are you trusting this guy for? Shoot, man, shoot. Okay, this is a new picture, I guess, because now Mikasa is staring at Ymir. It was you the whole time. What? Into my mind. What? She has some kind of Ymir feeling. Your love must have felt like a never-ending nightmare. This is even worse. This is getting worse now. Back to the stupid Ymir. Instead of explaining what Ymir was thinking or her love story, this is the most superficial way. Oh, her love was like pain or something. It was like a nightmare-fueled love story or something. Come on, this is so bad written. But again, generally the manga, every love story in the manga is poorly written, right? I mean, this is not a single romantic relationship which is good in this manga for a second. I mean, there's some cute scenes, the flirt scenes, but there's not good writing, actual, romantic scenes, right? For example, that the other Ymir, just decided to die for Historia, which makes Historia's chance of surviving lower. Like, it made sense, yeah. But you know what I mean? That's so many times since. But here, nothing is explained. It's just like, your love must have felt like a never-ending nightmare. Oh, okay. Oh, and now it's like, he dies and she hikes her daughters, I guess. I don't even get this. What's the point of this panel? Why didn't you save... This is like even dumber. I don't know. This is just even stupider. I don't even get for this point. I mean, what is this guy doing here? I don't even get it. So the new panel here, which is even dumber. The king, he gets hit by a spear, I guess, right? And she's hugging her daughter, of course, in a wall, and so on. But doesn't make any sense. Because in the previous, of course, in the classic ending and so on, right? They are eating their mom, right? When she has, lost her powers, or she died, right? And her children eats her. That's why, of course, Wall, Rosa, and Sheena and so on, yeah? But the king is alive in that scene, in that classic ending scene when they're eating the mom. So, but now he's getting like a spear stab and dies. Like, this completely breaks. This is like really. So what? The other scene was fake? Wasn't there a memory? Like, I don't know. What is it? Yeah, he gets the spear, right? She has the daughters. That is completely not what happened. I mean, unless he survived, but assuming he died in it. It looks like he dies, right? Like, what? But the other classic scene when they are eating the mom, her body though, and that's how they get their powers, right? And then that's why the walls are called their names, and he's alive behind them. He's like, eat her, to retain their powers. Yeah, this doesn't make any sense, unless he somehow survived that. But then what's the point of this scene, right? So I don't know. I don't even know what the point of this scene is, especially because earlier we have the scene when she jumps in front of the spear, right? But she didn't then, in the truth. But that's not happened. Like, it is the actual storyline. She didn't jump in front of the spear, but then she wasn't madly in love with him because it made sense. Well, not made sense, but in her whole obsessive codependent love storyline, that she would jump in front of the spear, right? That was like, and it was consistent, I guess. Consistent. It was not good writing, but it's consistent that she was willing to take the spear, right? But then in this panel here, is the new panel. She didn't take the spear. She just let him die. And how did she die then? And how did how? I mean, I must say she died from the spear. I'm saying maybe, but I mean generally, who was feeding her children her then? Because he's standing behind them like eat her, in the classic image, right? From the endings for the first, and then also later in the manga. Yeah, this is really worse because this is an hour. This feels very inconsistent. This feels like a straight up inconsistency. Like I don't understand how. It doesn't make any sense to me. You know what I mean? I don't see how this comes into the manga or the anime, because the anime ending is the first time you see this eating scene. Right? That's before it had in the manga, but the manga has the same scene later. I guess I'm gonna read on, but. Yeah, and then she crashes her daughters. Goodbye forever, Ymir. And that's kind of like the same scene she carries Aaron. But yeah, that doesn't make any sense. So did she then let her husband die? But if she did let him die, that means that she wasn't madly in love, I mean, she could be in love, but she wasn't like obsessive love, right? She let him die. Wouldn't she be free then? Or it was like a regret or something? This is really stupid. Especially because of how he clearly is instructing them to eat her, right? How he's clearly the one that's feeding his daughters their mom's body, right, to get them the powers. But then that didn't happen in this. And if she has changed the time, if she used her powers to alter reality, right, then why would she ever be in love? Or maybe she couldn't do that until Mikasa freed, arguably. But then there's another grandfather time paradox plot hole, because that means that this would never happen if she never gave her power to her daughters. They would never, get into the whole Titan family and the whole stuff, right? So, no, this makes even less sense. I have no idea what this two pictures are about. Honestly. And then we have, the time skip. That was really stupid. Then we have the time skip, and we have Historia and her peasant boy. It also makes no sense. Why wasn't it Aaron or something? Why wasn't it an actual character? It's just so stupid. Spending time on that. I mean, if it wasn't gonna be an actual reveal, he could not have the character and not have the, talking about her earlier. But anyway, fear installation. Yeah, they should definitely fear installation, and they're obviously gonna lose against other empires with more weaponry and more people and so on. That's why Aaron had like the time powers and made it one of the worst. I wouldn't say the worst necessarily, but definitely one of the worst he could have done. Right, he just created all his friends and family, and his race will get into a world war thing, and they're gonna lose for that. Like, it's just, why would he pick this? He has like infinite time options. It's like, oh, I'll pick one of the worst scenarios where they all die. I mean, even without reading the new pages here, I assume they're all gonna lose the war, right, eventually, because why would they win the war? Doesn't make any sense. Yeah, Aaron chooses to entrust us with death, basically. It's Aaron chooses to entrust us with death. And here we have the diplomat. Yeah, and Rainer still sniffing it, because that was a good scene. They could have been removed a bit better. Yeah, Peek and Dean are like flirting a bit. Armin and Annie still aren't kissing or whatever. So stupid. You could add any romance scene, of course, from these characters. Gabby and Falk are pushing, or Levi, yeah, nothing changed. Big band there, new there. Here we go. So now we get to the bird. The bird scene is so crappy. The bird scene. But I think it's gonna be. I mean, I heard one thing I've been spoiled about is that Mikasa's gonna have a baby or something, and baby Jean or something, or looking like Jean. It's like people are like thinking it's Jean, but I don't know if it's Jean necessarily. But yes, forget the bird scene. It's so stupid. The scar is so stupid. I mean, I've been saying that he never managed to write on a micro level for a second. It's only a micro water. I also said Ishiyama can write on macro. He has a good, premise. He has like a big reveal twist and so on. I always said for years, he's good at writing the bigger picture. Right? Oh, it's cool if it's a twist. That's over there's a war and that shit, and they're actually basement. He's good at writing that stuff, but it's a horrible character writer. He's really bad at writing good characters, and especially like the details. So like, what if it is birding? This is so stupid. Like, the birding is a perfect example of that. Why does the bird come and glitter for a scarf? Like, oh, Aaron, it's a bird now. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. What is a bird doing? But okay, I guess there's gonna be more new pictures now. Aaron, and then she, thank you for wrapping this scarf around me. It doesn't make any sense. Why is he a bird suddenly for? What does that mean? Like, it's just so stupid. It was stupid the first time. It's even dumber. I think the best thing about reading the chapter is that every scene that was really stupid last time is even stupider now, but it definitely gets in the level I feel this anime, or the manga, this manga, where I feel in that this manga, it's so bad that it gets funnier, you know what I mean? I've been saying it for a while, of course, for 2-3 years, but I think especially here in the end, it's so bad now that it's just like hilarious. It's like it's comedically bad, right? It's comedically bad, but thank you for wrapping the scarf around me, Aaron. Doesn't make any sense. How did you read a bird? Why is the bird doing this stuff? Why is Aaron suddenly a bird? He wasn't Falco. If Aaron had this is why scene is so stupid, because I mean, if Aaron had the yaw title, right? He has the bird title. If Aaron had the fox title, he could fly, right? Aaron had the wings, and then Aaron is dead, and he comes here, right? And this bird puts the scarf over Mikasa, and she is like, "He's my Aaron," Then at least will make so much sense. I'm not saying that's how they turn into a tiny bird, but at least in her mind, she would be like, "Well, clearly, my beloved Aaron used to be this big bird, right? He's a tiny bird putting the scarf on me. There has to be Aaron as his new life form, or Aaron controlling the bird or whatever." Right? That would have made at least like a thematic sense, right? But Aaron wasn't the bird titan. He was the attacking titan. The best was a muscular big guy, right? He had like his power was like, I can keep fighting or something. Yeah, he didn't have the peaks healing kind of endurance type of thing. He didn't have the armor. That wasn't that useful. He wasn't the beast guy, right? And so on, right? For example, if Zeke was the main character, right? And a monkey would come and give Mikasa her scarf. That would make sense, you know what I mean? Because he's the monkey, right? So a little tiny monkey gives her a scarf. Yeah, that also makes sense. But Eren wasn't a bird, so that feels so stupid too, because there's never been any connection whatsoever between Eren and birds. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but is it any scene whatsoever with Eren and birds? Never been. I just don't understand this the former last page, because yeah, it's like I've seen a lot of memes on it since then. But what do you mean? Like Eren has never had any bird relationship, right? It's just weird. No, I can't say an animal that is Eren, because Eren wasn't really animal based. But I think people get my point, right? If he had the beast power and a monkey or a gorilla would appear at the tree, then she could be like, oh, it's my Eren. This would be like symbolism would be clearer. But no, it's never a bird. Anyway, so now then here's the scene with, I guess that looks like Yin, yeah. So here's the new panel. So it's like a grave, like a tombstone, right? Of course, that is the same tombstone, I mean. But then I guess like older Mikasa, maybe. Because it has like, the hair and little ponytail and so on. And it looks like Yin. I mean, yeah, it's most similar to Yin. I suppose it is with the hair. But it doesn't have to be Yin at all, really. It could be anyone. I guess the point is that she smashed someone else, right? She got maybe someone else. Potentially. I mean, most similar to Yin, but it could be anyone. It also could have been that it's Peak, right? Peak and Yin at Eren's grave. but I don't know. I mean, yeah, I get people's point. This is what I spoiled earlier. I get people's point that yes, that guy looks like Yin from the back. He definitely does. He has the Yin hat that we saw in the anime too and so on, like in the first episode of the last season and so on. Yeah, I mean, sure. It could be Yin. That guy with. I mean, but to point out though, we don't see the face of the woman either, so it really could have been. It could be Peak too. I mean, it's just an hair color as Mikasa. But sure, this is probably Mikasa, and then that is most similar to Yin. But I don't feel it's gonna be Yin, honestly. Not was that ship Yin and Peak, but I don't see how. Like, why would he? Why would she go with Yin for? Like, there's never been any build up really. She liked the Yin back, so at all, right? So I don't see why it should be Yin here. I think the point is from Ishiyama, she smashed someone else, She's, Eren is dead, and she moved over to her life, I guess, with anyone, right? But I don't know if it's like a weird addition, but yeah, the bird gets cooked, he's like cooked the bird, so. And now they're building like, this is more interesting because now the next panel, they're like building a city, I guess they're constructing bigger houses and so on. Bigger buildings around the tree, like that area is being, I guess, infrastructure is starting and going, and the tree might be able to stand it, but yeah, the other areas are being demolished, right? I guess to build houses and so on. And then we see other characters, because I mean, that is like probably Mikasa as an old lady, I suppose. She wasn't immortal, and then there were some other people though. But that seems kind of interesting then, because there's like an old lady, probably Mikasa. And it's like a wheelchair, which probably her then. And then it's like some other people. That might be her grandkid something. Might be like... I mean, if the baby is the one that has a hat now in the left corner with her husband, I could imagine it being like... It feels like it's supposed to be Mikasa, her 2 daughters, and her 4 grandkids. Still obsessed with Eren though, so... It takes her husband and her family to be, this is my true love. You say everyone know, okay, grandkids, this is the man I want to have, this should be your grandfather. This guy, he's just a side character. This is the real grandpa, he should be the grandpa. But it's, okay, so I guess she brings the family, I don't know, I guess the next scene, the tree is probably being destroyed or something. Yeah, she puts like a flower and then... then the place is destroyed. The tree still stands there, but this is what I mean. Then the rest of the world. I was laughing at it. The last panel is so stupid. And then the rest of the world comes and like nukes them. And this last panel is so dumb. Then the last panel is like some anti-artillery, or like SAM units. They stand there and shoot at some airplanes, and they come and bomb the city they built. The tree still stands there. But they're like, but this is stupid in many ways. Well, let me just look at the next panel here. The tree still stands though, for some goddamn reason the tree still stands there after after the alien empire has been destroyed by the bombs or something. The tree still stands there, and then some random kids probably gonna fall into it and be turned into the new Titan because it looks like the Yggdrasil thing with him and Ymir, yeah. Probably gonna jump into it to get the powers or something. Because that tree looks exactly the same, come on, this is so stupid. The tree is like, the Titan powers are still there. And then Yamada some last point there. But yeah, I mean the Aaron's grave turns into the Titans, right? I can't wait for Attack on Titan GT or something, or Boruto Attack on Titan or something. It's so stupid. But it's basically it's like he's gonna jump into the tree and get the powers again, right? This kid here, he finds the tree with his dog. Because like Aaron's body is turning into the new Titan power. That is so dumb. But okay, the last panel before the boy, I think it's a boy, maybe a girl, but he's a boy. It's so stupid, yeah. So they destroy the country, right? Because of course they hated them. Of course they did. And this is why Aaron's strategy was so stupid. He's like, oh, I'm gonna, provoke all the other countries to fight us, and then I'm gonna leave you without your Titan powers and so on, and let's hope you win the war. Hope you win the war. And they're like, no, we didn't win the war. We didn't win the war, Aaron. That's stupid. Another thing though that makes the scene really stupid. Again, he can't write details. I never respected Ishiyama as a micro level. He can never write details. Another thing that doesn't make any sense here is that why is it so long? Like why has it been that Mikasa has been basically an old lady now? Or she's dead by age something, and now they're coming and bombing them. That doesn't make any sense. So this storyline is telling us that okay, so it took like 50 years at least, maybe like 80 years, and then the rest of the planet destroyed the alien empire. Why? Why did they wait with their bomb ship? You know what I mean? Why did they wait with the stealth bombers? They had airplane technology before it in the storyline, and obviously the houses around the tree is bigger. So it's been like 3 or 4 generations, and now they're all destroyed by the other countries. This is really stupid. It would be better if they go so immediately, right? It would be a lot better if Mikasa and someone died immediately from these bombings, from the nukes. Just a year or two afterwards. Now it's like 50 years later, everyone dies, or 60, whatever. You know what I mean? Like no, it's like a 2-3 generations later, everyone gets destroyed by the other countries. At least that's the premise here, right? Hinted to. That just seems really dumb. Like, why wouldn't they destroy them immediately? Why did the other country take so long time on them? I'm not saying they're gonna do it the next day, right? But it feels like this is like 50 years later. So because the thing is that why everyone of course hates them, that means that all the other countries on the planet was like conspiring together for like 50 plus years. So like, oh, we're gonna get those damn Titans, And then eventually they bomb them. You know what I mean? Like it's just like, oh my god. And then the kid fights a tree. So the Titan powers are back because I guess Aaron turned into the caterpillar thing, which is stupid. Another issue with that is that we don't see the other countries being destroyed. The other countries are still alive, right? The other countries just own them because they was like fighting them. So it is not a cycle of foreverness. It really isn't, because what's going to happen is this is like year 2050 or whatever, right? Let's call that whatever 2000 or something. So the year 2000, someone like destroys Madagascar, right? Yeah, the whole country. And then a kid finds this tree later on, and it's like, I get the power of Titans, and it's like 2010, something like that. What's he gonna do then? It isn't like perfect cycle of hatred and love and nothing ever changes. No, it isn't, because this kid, he's getting the powers in a destroyed country in the year like 2010 something, right? Whatever, something like that. So his powers are like, I'm the Beast Titan now! Or it's like, oh shit, a nuke, it dies, right? You know what I mean? Like, it's not the same thing. He's getting the power 2000 years later than what Ymir did, right? She got the powers during the Roman Empire, in like, zero, roundly, Christ, Anno Dominus, year 0. This kid's getting it, in the year 2000, right? So his powers are gonna be way less effective. So if the storyline is telling us, because it's kind of hinted to this kid finding the power in the ruins, right? He's kind of like going there, Nida to Mata, he finds the tree in this like destroyed, his whole country's been destroyed, right? Maybe since one generation, maybe more than one generation, but his country's been destroyed for X number of years, right? He finds the powers. How does that help him? It helps, but he, with the powers, aren't gonna be able to fight, the whole empire of the other countries, right? Because they have like stealth bomb shit, right? They have like nukes, so he's not gonna win anyway. So it isn't, it isn't a cycle thing. It's a cycle thing that the powers are back, but like the world hasn't returned to year zero because one country got destroyed by other countries. It's the storyline is telling us that no, actually, it is year zero again because the alien empire managed to fight back, and actually the whole planet has been nuked, right? Because fallout, the whole Earth has been destroyed basically, and this one kid survived, his family survived, he's a bunker somewhere, right? He's going out to get the powers and it's restart everything. That I guess you could, that's not implied at all, but I guess you could want it to be that. But it doesn't make any sense because then he has to draw an image of the alien defending them, but he hasn't done. There's nothing here, portraying that the aliens hurt the other countries during this war. They're just getting owned. At least in the panels we see, if you see for the tree, right? They're just getting owned, and I really mean it too, because if you look at the image, when the planes are coming, it's like 2 AA against like a swarm of bomber planes, and no one of them is going down in the image. So no, they're getting owned. If he wanted to show something else here, like an actual cycle of the whole planet that was destroyed back to year zero, he as an author completely failed that. Or he has to show something completely else. He has to show all the images of them fighting the other countries, right, and seeing like a mutual destruction taking place. But he isn't. He's just showing us that they owned them. And now it's like, why would this be? So if it's another failure, they have another failure, because if he's like he's trying to have the cake, eat it too, right? They got destroyed, but also cycle of life or something. But it is cycle of life. It isn't cycle of life if all the other countries can easily defeat Titans. Because there's already a problem, right? That Marley lost more and more power because the Titans weren't as effective anymore in like the World War I, II setting, I think in the year 1945, 40, that kind of like World War II kind of technology. Well, I guess this manga is a mixture of 1 and 2, right? But anyway, you know what I mean, like 1940s, yeah, whatever, or maybe 30s, but something like that. And it's like, yeah, their power started dwindling, right, based on the Titans not being that much stronger than an airplane. And now here, like 50 years later, alien empires are destroyed, and then maybe 10 something years later again, the kid finds the powers. Okay, what? He's gonna fight the modern stealth bombers with his powers? No, he isn't, right? So that's a complete failure. If he had shown the whole planet, if one panel here was the whole Earth being scorched, right, by nukes, and we just saw like panel the Earth is burning, then I would be like, okay, everyone dies, very few people survive. Here's a kid finding the powers. Okay, it's a cycle of rebirth and destruction. That would be a much better panel here, but that is not here at all. So no, that doesn't make any sense. It isn't a cycle, and yet another failure from the author here. Yeah, it's so stupid. It's actually stupid. Okay, so the main new thing is that the planet gets destroyed. No, the alien gets destroyed. Maybe the planet gets destroyed. The Ymir scene makes no sense. I said it earlier. The Ymir scene makes no sense. I don't understand what's happening with Ymir. I don't understand. Honestly, I don't understand it at all. This scene makes no sense. What, she didn't save her husband, or what, she didn't get eaten by her daughters? Her husband was dead before that. This last scene with her is her wishing that thing, but it looks more like an actual, like the true flashback. This makes no sense. What it's supposed to be? I don't understand it. She's crying with her daughter, so she's free. Mikasa's like, I knew you were looking into my brain. That's stupid too. And yeah, Ymir didn't get eaten by her kids, I guess, and she saved her children instead of saving the evil king. So then she was free. It doesn't make any sense. This is like a reverse thing of the time thing, right? She's going back in time, changing the outcome. That also would mean that nothing of the other storyline would happen. It's a massive time paradox. So I don't get it at all. I have no idea what this panel is. It doesn't make any sense. It looks really stupid. It doesn't logically, it doesn't combine at all what we have seen earlier. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what he was thinking adding this scene here with the king dying from the spear thing, and Ymir not saving him, and her, him dying before he feeds her to the children, because that's the beam of the iconic scenes, right? Apparently, that didn't happen actually, I guess. So that seems like a massive plot hole. I don't get it. It's like a retcon, right? It's like a massive retcon, or maybe it's supposed to be Ymir's dream or something that she didn't save him, but I guess maybe. What makes more sense to me is that Ymir just dreaming what she should have done by not saving him and just hug her kids instead. But it doesn't make any sense because she also was like immortal. And I didn't know how she even died to begin with. There's never been explained how she even could be killed by this damage because she has the healing powers and so on. So that never made any sense to begin with. But if she can only live for a certain number of years, right, given the Titan powers, and died by the age thing, that makes sense. But it's kind of like implied now that she died by that spear. That doesn't make any sense, you know. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So yeah, that part I don't get it. I guess it's supposed to be like her dream or something, what she wanted to do, instead of actually doing it. But she can change the past though, so she could have done it anyway. It's so stupid. Well, guys, that's my Attack on Titan long review here. It's even worse now. It's definitely even worse now. I'm not surprised though, at all. I mean, I said it again earlier, right? I had zero hopes for the last chapter for years to come. And here he's gonna make some changes, adding some pages to the last chapter. I absolutely expect it to be worse, right? Because I think you're right. I think it's been failing. I think since the whole manga thing was introduced, he's been just dropping the ball every week basically, right? Every month. But I think it's gone worse downhill, right? Especially with Gabby being kind of like a main character for a while and so on, and then all of Gabby's scenes are horrible and so on, and the Mikasa one-dimensional crap thing, and it's just bad, and Ymir being in love, and the last fight is just atrocious for many aspects, and it's just like holy shit, man. And the Zeke thing, and also generally Aaron's plan, like why 80%? The Zeke plan is like better than it. It's just so many faults. So why couldn't you just destroy all the units by his powers? Oh, I don't think about it. I also remember that Mikasa's a princess. That never was important. She was and I said immediately when I read my own manga review, I was like, oh, Mikasa's a princess. Will this be relatable? First of all, of course she's a princess, and then it never mattered. It never mattered really that she had the princess powers, and it was just, she never went to Japan anyway, and so it's just stupid. And I knew immediately that was a goddamn shoehorn for some reason to make her a princess. That was never really going to be important to the storyline. So I felt every month he just made more and more weird plot holes. He's poked the hole in his own storyline. I think up till kind of the time skip, the manga wasn't a masterpiece, but I think it was like a really good manga. It had some things that didn't make any sense, like for example Ymir, the other Ymir, just go with it to die. That never made any sense. How is it going to help Historia? That was just so stupid. So that her action there was just utterly stupid. No one will ever do that. That was so unrealistic. And because even if she wanted to protect Historia, giving her powers towards enemies, it doesn't help her, you know what I mean? And she could have told them the truth, which she didn't, but Marley's. So that was really stupid. Ymir's character didn't make any sense, you know what I mean? Because she knew the truth, right, or most of it, never told them, even though she kept saying that she wanted to do everything to protect Historia. Why won't you just tell her the truth then, right? So that's what I mean. I think that the character in the Titan, in a general, storytelling, is a really good written. As I kept saying, on the macro level, it's a very good manga and anime, right? On the ideas, the premises, right, the secrets, the twists and reveals, it's very, very good. But on a micro level and the character level, the actual character interaction, the dialogue, sometimes, but especially like Ymir, then, for example, or Ymir the second, right? Her interaction with Historia, and then later, decision making, it's just so stupid that it doesn't make any sense. Like, because even if she just wanted to, I'm not talking about that she was willing to die for her. She loved Historia and was willing to die for her. That's fine. I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm saying that her method of protecting Historia is so stupid, right? You know what I mean? Like, she's in love with Historia, and then she doesn't even tell her the truth. You know what I mean? Like, it's so stupid. Like, why would she do that? Why would she just tell her the truth then? So they would help them immensely. And it's just that was so bad. The whole Ymir thing. Then she also just went with them, right? So that kind of stuff in the storyline is just really, really weak, right? And that's the issue with that is called, again, the actual characters and the actual interactions. So that's always been an issue in Attack on Titan. But if you ignore that, it was a really good manga, I think, until kind of like the time skip, right? Roughly that time. There was some basic issues, but it was generally a good manga, right? And then again, it's immediately, when we jumped to the Marleys, I was like, I'm out of this manga. At that point, I was like, oh no, this is stupid. Gabby, plot character, she clearly killed Sasha. Goodbye to my old reviews. I said immediately, Gabby's gonna kill one of the characters. I said immediately, her writing was just piss poor. I was like, she's gonna kill a character. It's the most predictable thing ever. This guy's gonna fly. But it was just so bad. The character was so boring. And the pacing was atrocious for the matter too as well. The pacing was so slow. etc. Then we have the Zeke's really grand scheme. That was not Zeke's plan is so dumb. Zeke's plan, his strategy is so stupid as well, right? And so on. It's one thing that he wanted to, combine with Aaron, but he could have a much better motivation or a better plan, right? His plan could have been so much better. He had a similar agenda, but a much better execution of his plan, right? Or method. Again, the methods, right? It's kind of similar to Ymir. The storyline has never been good writing characters, intelligence or characters strategies. The premise makes sense. It's an interesting premise in the world and the twists and reveals, right? But the actual day-to-day kind of character interaction and the characters again the strategies is really bad. So and that thing I think was fortunate then. I think an issue immediately is when the Mars appeared, right? That kind of also removed I think a lot of the revealing in the plot, right? The premise and so on, the general the general storyline was set then, right? You know what I mean? Like they was set. So when you have a time skip, that is almost kind of ending all the twists and turns, right? Basically, that's like, okay, now the world is set, we have all the world building. It's gonna be some details later, but what does actually matter on the general thing, right? And then I think immediately that because the problem, right? Because after the time skip, it's too much character focused, and he cannot write characters. He cannot write characters. They're all this unrealistic, behavior and so on. Mikasa right, being the one absurdly one-dimensional character, and so her favorite color is Aaron. I'll say this: her favorite color is Aaron. Her food is Aaron. Right? Favorite TV show is Aaron. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's boring. It's a boring character. Ymir proves it again. Right? Horrible written character. Right? The love team with Ymir is popping up in the last chapter. There was no hints to that, and so on. Right? Etc. Right? So that kind of thing. After he actually revealed all the kind of the plot points, then actually inserting the characters to be likable and funny and all stuff, but also cool and whatever. Right? In the actual storyline was never his strong suit, and then this last after Taskip, right? This last long Molly Elden War arc, you just had too much of that. Gabby Falcon interaction with of course, Gabby's gonna meet the girl, the sister, Sasa's Imoto-san kind of characters who want her family. Come on, that shit all the time. Of course, Frost is gonna jump in the sky and only Gabby will hit him. You know what I mean? All that stuff was horrible. So that again is like, oh shit, man, this last arc has been horrible from the beginning, in my opinion. It is this last new edition. It makes it worse. It makes it worse. It's like, oh yeah, Ymir actually didn't take the spear. What? What is this last thing? And Ymir was inside of Mikasa's head all the time. Okay, that just makes it even worse. And then Mikasa loved Yin or something. I don't know. She smashed some more guy and still went with her children all the time to his grave. That's kind of weird too. You just move on already, woman. Move on. I didn't like this in either. I mean, it's one thing she will get married, get a kid, right, and go to his grave once with her new husband. Okay, fine. But afterwards, I feel it's kind of cringe. She's free, but still visits him with her family. Brings like her a dozen grandkids to meet Aaron. Come on, like I would prefer if she moved on and Aaron's grave was just overgrown or something, right? And we saw her walking back, so she was like. She forgot about it. Yeah, that would be better if she kind of moved on, right? But she did move on, so that was weird too. That's man, it's just yeah. Another bad chapter as I expected, but the bombing is just the bombing should have been earlier though. The bombing should have been the 10 years afterwards. I don't know why they bombed Ellie and Empire like 50 years later. They had to like build out stealth bombers, all the countries together. Okay, finally destroy them. It's like okay, I guess it is what it is, guys. I'm gonna totally do one day when I have time and effort. I do want to do the video let's talk about now though. Except for that, yeah, the mic versus mic, right? But I really think what I said in the end here. I said it for many years now, but I think that is the issue with the title. He is great at writing the premise, right? And honestly, I will admit this thing. It reminds me a little bit of myself, I suppose. That's kind of so when I worked this company a few years ago. And I was writing the lore of this game then, the character and lore and so on. My boss, the CEO, was like, "You're a great writer, but you're not that good at writing characters." He's like, "You're really good at twist. You're really good, coming up with like, oh, she killed her own son and so yeah." He's like, "You're really good at coming up with interesting twists and like the premise and the world building, the settings of this aliens, the powers and so on. But you're pretty good at writing dialogues. Like actual, it's like funny dialogue. You're pretty bad at writing that. You're good at writing like I kind of said the macros. I was like maybe." So I don't know the defense for Ishiyama, but maybe I can just relate, honestly. I think so personally, because I'm not saying that I am on his level, but I'm saying that I feel I'm writing the same way in that sense, that I am good at coming up with, you know, twists and turns, right? The general world, I can't be tight to this shit, yeah. But I am also pretty bad at feel of making like, honestly, maybe I'm better now then, because my boss was like, you need to learn to write it better, because you always have really good, you know, general concepts and twists, but the actual dialogue between the characters is pretty meh. So you need to. So this, I think at the heart, like, it's pretty right. I'm good at writing the big ideas, right? But I can't really detail me as much. But that might be why I can see it, honestly, because he said it to me like 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, that my CEO that I worked with 4 years ago, maybe 3.5 years ago, whatever, back in the days, and I've been thinking about that's one of my own writing issues. And then I just see it, you know, with Ymir every time. I see it with Ymir for years, especially this last arc and the Mali arc, the time skip up. I've seen it like that is exactly what my boss said. What I also do. I have good premise, good ideas, good twists and turns, right? But the actual cringy dialogue and bad character reactions, something, is probably what I also feel. That's probably why I see, I think, personally as well too, because I've been thinking about it, you know, on my own skills, right? When I'm on my own work, I've been thinking about that specific issue, that I need to be also not just coming up with really cool ideas, but also actually writing out the concept, the writing of the part. It's like I have a good idea for A and B, right? But the path between A and B, I might be a little weaker on. And I feel Ishiyama is exactly the same thing. He's good at coming up with A, B, C, and D, but the actual pathway between A to B and B to C, the actual red line between them, that is like shaking it a lot. And I felt that, and this last chapter is probably the same thing. He's like, oh, here's some details, and they're not good at all. But actually, I think the last chapter, though, my last point is, the last chapter, though, honestly, I think it fails on both here, though, because here he has to, you know, deliver some results, so he has to deliver some reasoning behind some of the, like Ymir and so on, right? He has to deliver on the twist, why she did what she did, right? And he fails. So I think he actually fails both on macro and micro. He's definitely failing on macro as well, because her reveal and the bombing is just bad, and then adding this weird spear scene she didn't take. This would make, I don't understand what he wanted that thing. Was there a dream? I don't understand it. I don't get it. What's the point of that scene, right? So, anyways, that's my long review here. And one day when I'm gonna make a video talking about the micro and macro. You know, why Ishiyama fails. Probably the title of it. But again, I think that's the thing, right? He can write a good part here and a good part here, right? Like the twist, here's the main premise, here's the twist of the arc, right? But the pathway between that, he's just failing completely. It's like, how do I get in a good way there? It's very forced. Except for Gabi, yeah, it's just very forced, you know. So he's forcing the character into in a very unnatural way to get to what he wants him to get, right? He has to improve the writing to make it better.